Hi! Today we are going to be doing something a little bit unprecedented. Here at the Crochet Cakes YouTube channel, we have hacked pinafores. We have hacked quinceañera dresses. And we have hacked blouses. And most recently t-shirts as well. But you know what we haven't hacked? A Christmas sweater. And even though crochet hacking is not unprecedented in the Crochet Cakes YouTube channel, our time crunch is. And you might be asking, why a time crunch? Well, today is November 30th and my husband and I have been invited to an ugly Christmas sweater party this Saturday, December 3rd. Luckily, my husband found a t-shirt in his wardrobe that was a very lovely gift from Anna of Stitchcraft and Wizardry, and I've hacked that for him. Well, semi-hacked that, okay? I'm almost done with the sleeves. And then, you know, there's other parts of it that I'm gonna be decorating, but it is more complete than mine. So as I said, it is Wednesday, and this is for Saturday evening, I think. I mean, time hasn't been confirmed. But anyway. Right. Can never miss a video without sneezing. So we're in a time crunch. Luckily, Caroline of Mine and Musecrafts, my mom, has been sending me a lot of inspiration, shall we say. So basically, for this Christmas sweater hack, I wanted to do the Tres Reyes Magos, the Three Kings, not because I'm religious, but because I'm Puerto Rican, and it's really part of Latin American culture, I think. Correct me if you do not celebrate Three Kings Day, but I like to celebrate it. Anyway, el punto es that that's what I wanted to do, but those are three things that I would need to crochet, like three people. Silhouettes that I would need to crochet, and again, time crunch. So that means that, let's look at the first of these ideas, but I think I can manage these two. So my basic idea is to have a Christmas tree and then have some Pascuas surrounding the Christmas tree, and then sewing some lights on the Christmas tree. I shall pause so that you may admire my Van Gogh type drawing skills. We have a plan, and since we are in a bit of a time crunch, I thought I would just browse my stash for some bulky weight yarn and get started with a bubble Christmas tree. Here's our beige Christmas sweater, which we will transform some green yarn, some reds, and some browns. With a little bit of Christmas magic, our sweater will be complete. Just kidding, it doesn't work like that. So I know there are probably a lot of Christmas tree, bubble tree patterns, but Mom sent me this one, so that's the one I am going to try and make. Will it work with bulky weight yarn? Well, let's find out. You know, I kind of hate that you can't curse on the internet or you get demonetized, because I curse on the daily. Don't tell YouTube that. Okay, so our starting project was delayed because I couldn't find my glasses. Anyway, very important question. If you only need glasses to like read and crochet like me, do you also just lose them all the time? Anyway, let the crochet begin. So every time I start a new crochet project, I just doubt my existence. It just happens that way. Anyway, I am using scrap yarn, Bernat Roving, I believe this is, and this is a 5mm furls crochet hook, and I'm just going to crochet this pattern here. So we should probably do a time lapse. So you guys saw me make the first 5 rows of this pattern, and I think I'm gonna rip them all back and start again because this, I don't think it'll be very big. So the original pattern, when you make it, you know, following her gauge and everything, it's gonna give you a tree that's approximately 4.5 inches tall and 3 inches wide. And I don't know why in my head, I thought that's a good size. And if I use a bulky weight yarn and a 5mm hook, I should get something bigger. But yeah, 4.5. And mine is currently at 3 inches. And you saw the big landscape of my sweater. So yeah, I'm gonna rip back and use some thicker yarn by holding greens together and using a bigger hook. I'll see you here in a little bit. I held 2 yarns together, a super bulky and a worsted weight yarn. And as usual, Clarissa overestimated, or actually she underestimated how big that would be. So this already measures 7.5 inches and I'm not even done yet. I'm still missing a chunk of the tree and of course the trunk. So I, of course, I'm gonna rip this back and I'm just gonna use the roving yarn with a 5.5mm hook and hopefully that will go better. So what happened yesterday? Well, I completed the bubble tree, which I think is really, really cute. I didn't alter the pattern at all. I just followed the pattern that I shared with you on Instagram. I will leave the link to that in the description box below. And yeah, I just did a lot of admin work yesterday, kind of preparing my content schedule for next year to know what videos I'm gonna be preparing for you guys and all those little tidbits really that fall under content creation. So for today we are going to be crocheting poinsettias. I'm going to be using a pattern from Cheru Knitting, or actually it's a YouTube video from Cheru Knitting, and I'm going to leave the description to that video, the link to that video in the description box below. Yeah, that's today. Oh, and definitely I need to finish Edison's sleeve for his sweater because I need to sew some jingle bells on that sweater. Clarissa out. As lovely as this 3D Cheru knitting flower is, which I think really looks like a poinsettia or a pasqua, I'm not gonna have enough yarn. But most importantly, the Christmas tree should be the biggest thing, right? And proportions. I've never been good at them, but this one's quite obvious. Apparently, I am just incapable of crocheting anything small, but it's been 50 minutes and I am not ripping back again, so this is the Happy Berry Crochet Poinsettia I ended up going with, and it's a little bit too big, but I am sticking with it. Poinsettia on the right is being crocheted with a 1.75mm hook, the poinsettia on the left with the 2.75, and that's how it looks next to the big tree. The people that learn to crochet on thread and tiny hooks, you guys possess a black magic that I'm fully jealous of, because using sport weight yarn and a 1.75mm crochet hook to crochet this flower was a new form of torture. Now that that's done, we still have one more torture to go through, and that is that we need to crochet a star for our tree and then just decide how we're gonna put everything together. Okay, so I think that I'm just gonna obviously lay the tree smack dab in the middle. The star goes on top, and then the poinsettias at the bottom, like I had said at the beginning of the video that I wanted to do. And then I think I'm gonna use some stitch markers to just tie it all in together. But yeah, that's the basic of it. For the crochet star, I just decided to go very simple. Start with a magic loop, do 3 single crochets, chain 2, 3 single crochets until I had 5 points. And then I just did a second round where I did single crochet in the back loop only in each stitch and in the chain 2 space, and then I did chain 2 and keep single crocheting so that I would make my star more pointy and star-like. I really like that I got to use these Christmas stitch markers for something else that people will see. So now I was just playing around with how I wanted to join my crochet pieces to the Christmas tree. I wanted it to be sturdy, but at the same time something that if I didn't like, it was easy enough to rip back and try again. The same thought process went into sewing the pieces to the sweater. I wanted it to just be tacked down gently, but still hold itself well and not stretch out the sweater, because if I do keep this sweater specifically as my forever Christmas sweater, it would be nice to be able to add on ornaments or also take out ornaments in case I want to have a Three Kings Day sweater still. But I will give you a tiny spoiler, and it's that just as with the Trash Taste shirt that I was fixing, I had needed to use a stabilizer because the crochet was very heavy and it was warping the knit. But nonetheless, just for the party that we went to this weekend, I left it tacked down simply, and it was okay. It survived. It didn't fall to pieces. And finishing up the sewing, it is time for the reveal of this easy crochet Christmas sweater hack. Okay, time for the second Christmas crochet sweater hack. Now this one is a little bit more time consuming, but I think that it's just as lovely and it features more crochet if that is your thing. So for this second crochet Christmas sweater hack, we're going to need a couple more materials. So other than yarn, we are going to need an awl. We are going to be needing a 1.75 millimeter crochet hook, and we are also going to be needing a ruler and crochet thread, in addition to whatever yarn you're going to be using for crocheting your sleeves. Because yes, once again, we are going to be crocheting right into the sleeves of our sweater. I'm going to link on top here and in the description box below the video where I go over this in more detail, because as I said in the beginning of the video, did a crochet hack for a pinafore as well as a blouse. So let's get started. So into our t-shirt, we're going to pierce some holes that are 1/2 inch apart, and I start by marking it with my awl, then inserting the awl into the mark all the way through to make sure I've poked all the way through the other side. Then I grab my 1.75 millimeter hook and my crochet thread, and into the hole I've just created, I do 3 single crochets. This is my preference for a more decorative edge. You could, of course, just space your single crochets with, more inches apart or less inches apart to cover the area, but I think the 3 single crochet border works very well. And then after I've worked all those little 3 single crochet groups, I decided to go for a linen stitch. Now, in the case of this t-shirt, since the yarn I'm using is a worsted weight yarn, I'm actually skipping 2 single crochets and then doing the linen stitch. That just worked better for me. You can of course experiment with your own yarn and hook size and just decide what works better for you. And after I found it very troublesome to work with my 1.75 millimeter crochet hook, I switched to the 4 millimeter crochet hook, which is what I was going to be using for the duration of this sweater to then just formally complete the stitch. So I used the 1.75 millimeter crochet hook to bring up the yarn, and then I use the 4 millimeter crochet hook to complete my stitch. And in case you are curious, I am using Bernat. This is just a worsted weight acrylic yarn, and I'm also going to be changing colors every round to form vertical stripes with the linen stitch, and for that I've chosen a white from Stash. There really isn't much to crocheting these sleeves in the round. Like I said, I just chose to change color every round to kind of give it a vertical striped candy cane look, and I am very happy with how the sleeves turned out. I think they fit my husband very nicely. I will say it's very good that you try the shirt on as you go, just to make sure that it's fitting well. I did have to do a couple of decreases down the sleeve just to make sure it fit my husband very well, but there's nothing fancy to just crocheting these sleeves. So that is it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this kind of unplanned, chaotic making on my part, but those are the 2 Christmas sweater hacks that I had to share with you. I hope that you enjoyed them, and do let me know if you try any of them down in the description box below, because down in the comments section below, because I honestly think that sometimes we stress so much about making things for ourselves that we don't realize that we can hack things and cut our time in half. So I hope that you enjoyed going on this journey with me. I hope that you like how the sweaters turn out. Things I would like to improve on is that definitely I want to figure out a better way of tacking down the appliques on a sweater that is both stable but can also be easily removed in case I ever want to use that sweater for, let's say, a Tres Reyes Magos sweater instead of just a Christmas sweater. I also kind of like the idea of adding to it every year, so I don't know if I'm actually going to take off that applique, because I do like the idea of adding little trinkets to my Christmas sweater every year, and I definitely like that my collection of Christmas stitch markers is definitely getting some use. So I'm not gonna lie, I actually thought that my camera was tilted, and that's why I was looking at the Christmas tree all tipsy-turvy, wobbly, timey-wimey. And it's just that I stitched it completely sideways. But it's okay, if I raise my hand, it straightens out. Because I just thought of a tip, and this is actually what I'm gonna do, because it does feel very weighty and I cannot be bothered to fix this right now. I have other projects I need to pay attention to, namely Christmas gifts. Anyway, the point is, I'm gonna move this gently up, and I'm going to, on the inside, safety pin it to my bra. So yeah, I will leave you there. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed spending a little bit of crafty time with me today. And do let me know if you yourself are planning to make a Christmas sweater. And by Christmas sweater, I just mean anything in general that has a Christmas motif for this season, because I definitely understand coming from a place where you cannot, absolutely cannot wear long sleeves during the month of December. Because as you know, or if you're new here, you may not know, I am from Puerto Rico. So yeah, tropic, even though it gets down to the 72 degrees and we do wear sweaters, it's still not a viable thing to wear a turtleneck and a long sleeve shirt. Or definitely, and in the case of my husband's sweater, having long sleeves that are just acrylic. Hot. Anyway, once again, thank you so much for being here. I do have another sweater to share with you guys. That was more like kind of a little mini tutorial, but I hope you look forward to it, and do pay attention to YouTube so that you may know when it's being released. And if you would like, sign up for my newsletter, because you will definitely be told when that one is being released. Yeah, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me today, and I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.